The galactic trade hub of Virelia was a place of constant noise and color. Ships of every shape and size floated through its vast docking bays, their crews hurrying to unload goods, negotiate deals, or simply rest between long journeys. Alien voices mingled in strange patterns, each species adding its own unique tone. The hub itself was a marvel of engineering. Glittering towers, magnetic highways for spacecraft, and vast markets that sold everything from energy crystals to living plants that glowed in the dark. For centuries, the civilizations of the galaxy had come to know Virelia as a safe and predictable place. Conflicts were rare here. The hub's security systems, combined with the careful diplomacy of the Galactic Council, ensured that trade and cooperation flourished. The aliens, confident in their control and technological superiority, never expected to face something they could not understand. That day, however, everything changed. Sensors on the hub's outer perimeter blinked furiously. A massive object was approaching at speeds no known propulsion system could achieve. The alarms went off, sending shivers of concern through the various alien crews. The object did not respond to hail signals. It did not slow down as it entered the hub's defensive perimeter. It simply appeared, silent, enormous, and utterly foreign. The Council quickly mobilized its defense fleet. Ships streaked through the docking channels, taking their positions around the mysterious object. The largest of these vessels, a crimson dreadnought from the Kalthari Empire, emitted its scanning waves, trying to analyze the intruder. The readings were strange. The ship's structure did not match any known materials. Its energy signature was massive, yet unlike anything recorded before. Admiral Trell, commander of the Virelia Defense Fleet, stood on the observation deck of his flagship, eyes wide behind the protective visor. He had seen countless threats in his long career, from rogue pirates to unstable star systems, but this was different. "What is it?" he asked, his voice low, almost trembling. "No one knows, Admiral," replied the lead scientist, a tentacled Krelin named Vexar. "Its speed, its shielding, its energy output, nothing matches anything in our records. This is beyond our understanding." The object stopped suddenly, floating in orbit around the hub. Its design was simple yet imposing. Smooth metallic surfaces reflected the light of nearby stars, and strange markings lined its hull. It was massive, larger than any single human ship the Council had ever catalogued, and yet it moved with a quiet grace that made the alien observers uneasy. Rumors began to spread immediately. Merchants whispered to one another, speculating on the object's origin. Some mentioned ancient human legends, stories of a species that had once been considered primitive, but had risen to dominance in ways no one fully understood. Many laughed, dismissing these tales as myth, but a few uneasy glances were exchanged. The Council decided that first contact must be attempted. A small delegation of diplomats and scientists, equipped with the most sophisticated translation devices, prepared a message to hail the unknown ship. "Attention, unknown vessel," the message began, broadcast in every known universal language. "You have entered the territory of the galactic trade hub Virelia. Identify yourself and state your purpose." For a tense few minutes, there was no response. Then a calm, measured voice filled the transmission channels. It spoke in perfect galactic standard, but with a tone unfamiliar and resolute. "This is the human starship Defiant. We are explorers. We mean no harm. We request permission to observe your hub and learn about your civilizations." Silence fell. The Council delegates blinked in shock. Humans here? They were supposed to be a distant species, confined to their small region of space. No human fleet had been encountered in centuries, and legends painted them as unpredictable, cunning, and extremely dangerous. Admiral Trell swallowed hard. "Prepare a response," he said, his voice steady despite the fear creeping into his mind. "But make it cautious." As the diplomatic message was sent, alien fleets hovered tens of kilometers away from the human ship. Their weapons were armed, though no one truly wanted to fire first. Every species in the hub sensed the tension. The humans, however, seemed calm. The ship's hull did not tremble. Its energy fields glimmered steadily. Its lights blinked with quiet precision. Nothing about it screamed aggression. Inside the Defiant, Captain Elena Ward monitored the hub with a steady gaze. Humans had been warned about alien reactions, of course, but the sheer panic radiating from the hub's sensors was far more intense than expected. She could hear the tension in the alien hails, feel it in their movements. Yet her crew worked with practiced calm. "Status report," she said. her voice crisp over the comms. "All readings are nominal," replied Lieutenant Harris. "They are scanning us constantly, but their sensors are confused. They can't match our energy profile with any known technology." "Good," Elena said. She turned to her navigation officer. "Keep us in orbit, but maintain a non-threatening position. No sudden moves. Let them realize we are not here to fight." The aliens were watching carefully. Smaller ships approached, attempting to gauge the humans' reaction. They came close enough to trigger defensive sensors, but the humans did nothing aggressive. They did not fire. They did not send threatening signals. Instead, small human drones emerged, performing simple scans of their surroundings, collecting environmental data, yet doing nothing to provoke the alien fleets. Panic rippled through the hub. "They don't respond like we expect," one diplomat exclaimed. "We try to scare them, and they just stand their ground calmly. It is unnatural." "Yes," replied Vexar, the Kreelan scientist. "And notice how their shields behave. They do not overreact to attacks. They are precise, measured. They understand strategy in a way we do not." The hub's council called an emergency meeting. Representatives from every species crowded into the central chamber, debating what to do. Some called for immediate action, claiming that humans were too unpredictable to trust. Others argued for caution and observation, noting that the humans' calm and precise responses indicated intelligence beyond what anyone had assumed. Meanwhile, Captain Elena Ward addressed her crew over the ship's internal comms. "Remember," she said, her eyes scanning the alien fleets outside, "we are explorers. Our goal is understanding, not conflict. Show them who we are, calm, confident, and capable. This is the first impression that will define humanity for generations." Her words carried weight. The crew worked quietly, adjusting systems, running simulations, and preparing for any unexpected maneuver from the aliens. Yet there was no panic among the humans. They understood something the aliens did not. Strength was not always shown through force. Sometimes calm confidence and precise action could be more powerful than the largest weapon. Hours passed, and the hub slowly began to realize that these humans were unlike any species they had encountered. Their technology was advanced, yes, but their composure, their discipline, and their intelligence left an even greater impression. Stories that had once seemed like legends, the cunning, fearless humans, were suddenly very real. By evening, the panic in the hub had reached a fever pitch. Merchants hurried to secure their goods. Scientists frantically compared data. Soldiers paced the corridors, uncertain whether to prepare for battle or simply observe. The humans, however, remained steady. From the deck of the Defiant, Captain Ward watched the hub, noting the fear and fascination in equal measure. "This is only the beginning," she said softly. "They will learn, and when they do, they will see what humanity can really do." The first meeting had ended, not with fire or bloodshed, but with something far more powerful: awe, confusion, and the unmistakable sense that humans were a species unlike any other. Even as the stars glimmered above the hub, the alien civilizations understood that their lives, their trade, and perhaps even their understanding of the galaxy had changed forever. The Virelia trade hub had never known such chaos. Rumors about the human starship spread like wildfire. In the bustling corridors, merchants whispered to each other. Soldiers frowned in confusion, and diplomats held hurried meetings. Every alien species tried to make sense of what they had seen: a massive human warship, calm and precise, defying their expectations at every turn. Admiral Trell paced in his command room, watching the Defiant on his holographic display. Smaller alien ships approached the humans cautiously, attempting to test their reactions. Each maneuver was calculated, meant to intimidate or provoke, yet the humans remained perfectly composed. Their shields shimmered in a calm rhythm, absorbing energy waves with ease, while their sensors adapted to every scan and countermeasure. "This is impossible," muttered Vexar, the Kreelan scientist, his multiple eyes narrowing at the display. "They do not respond like any species we know. Their reactions are precise, almost intelligent in a way we cannot predict." Admiral Trell rubbed his temples. "They are humans," he said, his voice tense. "Legends say they are fearless, cunning, but I never believed it. Until now." The council decided on a formal assessment. Scientists, strategists, and military experts from several alien civilizations would observe the humans closely. They were not allowed to attack, but their goal was clear: learn everything they could about the humans' capabilities. From the Defiant, Captain Elena Ward watched the alien fleet's movements with calm precision. "They want to test us," she said to Lieutenant Harris. "Let them. Keep our posture defensive, but do not escalate. Let them see who we are," Harris nodded. "All sensors are online. They are scanning us constantly, but their systems can't fully read our power outputs or shield designs." "It's fascinating." "It should be," Elena replied. "We are not just showing them technology. We are showing them humans." Over the next several hours, the alien fleets conducted numerous tests. Small drones zipped close to the Defiant, measuring its shields, recording its energy emissions, and even attempting minor electronic disruptions. Each time, the humans adapted instantly. Defensive fields reconfigured, sensor patterns adjusted, and minor countermeasures were deployed, all without harming the aliens. The alien observers grew increasingly frustrated. "They are responding perfectly," one Kalthari officer growled. "Every move we make is met with precision, but they do not attack. It is unnerving." "Yes," Vexar said quietly. "It is more than their shields or weapons. They are thinking. They are learning from our actions in real time. Their strategy evolves faster than anything we have ever seen." One bold alien commander decided to escalate. He ordered a simulated attack, firing energy pulses in arcs designed to intimidate the humans. The pulses were harmless, meant only to test reactions. Yet the humans responded with flawless timing. Defensive arrays activated exactly when needed. Countermeasures redirected energy safely into space. The aliens were amazed. The humans had predicted the pulse's trajectory almost before the calculations could be completed by the fastest alien computers. On the Defiant, Elena smiled faintly. "They are testing us, yes, and they are learning their limits. Let them. We will remain calm and controlled. That is our advantage." The alien fleet slowly began to realize something more profound. The human strength was not just in technology, but in composure. Their calm confidence was unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. Where other species would panic under pressure or overreact to threats, the humans remained precise and calculated, even when surrounded by dozens of aggressive vessels. At the council chambers, heated debates erupted. "They are a threat," one alien delegate shouted. "Their shields, their weapons, they could destroy our fleets in an instant." "Perhaps," another replied, "but notice their behavior. They do not strike first. They are cautious. They are disciplined. This is unusual." Vexar spoke softly, almost to himself. "We are not used to a species that can be powerful and calm at the same time. We overestimate force and underestimate intelligence. Humans defy both our expectations." To better understand the humans, the council authorized a controlled simulation. They would simulate a small crisis near the hub and observe the human response. A fleet of drones was dispatched to create artificial hazards, energy storms, false threats, and electronic interference. The humans responded without panic. Sensors detected anomalies quickly. Shields adjusted automatically. Small repair drones were deployed to correct minor system damage before it became serious. Every maneuver was logical, precise, and deliberate. The aliens watching the simulations realized with growing unease that humans were not just reactive, they were proactive. They anticipated problems, planned contingencies, and executed them flawlessly. "Do they ever make mistakes?" one anxious officer asked. "They do," Vexar replied, "but their mistakes are minor. And when they do occur, they correct them instantly. Their systems and their minds are adaptive. It is a combination we have never faced before." Meanwhile, the human crew continued their calm observation of the hub. Scientists collected data on alien technologies. Engineers analyzed energy emissions. Every human action was measured and precise, yet seemingly effortless. For the aliens, it was unnerving. They had prepared for conflict, for miscommunication, for chaos. But the humans remained an island of calm in a sea of uncertainty. Some younger alien observers began to feel something unexpected: admiration. The humans' discipline, intelligence, and ethical restraint were inspiring. One Varelian technician whispered to her companion, "They do not use their power to intimidate. They are confident in a way I have never seen." Admiral Trell, observing all this, realized the truth. Humans were a species whose strength went far beyond weapons or fleets. They were clever, disciplined, and unshakably calm. In every simulation, every test, they proved that strategy and courage could be more powerful than raw force. The council continued to debate. Some wanted to send envoys for direct communication. Others argued for extreme caution, fearing the humans might eventually strike. Yet as the hours passed, even the most aggressive members could not ignore the evidence. Humans did not respond to threats the way anyone else did. Their reactions were thoughtful, deliberate, and controlled. Captain Ward, standing on the bridge of the Defiant, addressed her crew once more. "Remember, we are here to learn and to observe. Do not give them reason to fear, but do not allow them to underestimate us. Our strength lies in our discipline, our intelligence, and our calm. That is what makes humanity unique." The crew nodded. Engineers, navigators, and scientists continued their work with quiet efficiency. They understood that the aliens were frightened, not of what humans would do, but of what humans could do. And that fear was a powerful tool, even if unintentional. By the end of the first day, the alien fleets began to pull back slightly, unsure how to proceed. They had expected aggression or retreat, but humans had shown neither. Instead, the Defiant remained a perfect balance of readiness and calm. Every test, every scan, every simulation had reinforced a single undeniable truth. Humans were different. Vexar, staring at the ship through a long-range monitor, finally said aloud what many were thinking. "They are remarkable, not because of weapons, not because of speed, but because they are humans. Their composure, their intelligence, and their discipline, it is beyond anything we have seen." The council decided to continue observation for several more days, but already a shift was occurring. Fear was beginning to mix with respect. Curiosity replaced panic in some corners. Even the most cautious species could not ignore the reality. Humanity was not just a distant legend. Humans were here, and they had arrived with confidence, skill, and a calm that made every other species question their assumptions about power. In the quiet of the Defiant, Elena Ward watched the alien fleets with calm eyes. She knew the aliens were learning from her crew's actions, just as her crew was learning from them. "Let them assess us," she said softly. "Let them see who humans are. They will remember this moment for a long time." As the stars turned outside the Defiant's windows, the humans prepared for the next phase of contact. They would continue to show restraint, intelligence, and calm in the face of the unknown. The galaxy had begun to notice, and the first seeds of respect and perhaps fear were taking root. For the humans, this was more than an encounter. It was a demonstration of what made their species special: courage, intelligence, adaptability, and ethical strength. The aliens might not fully understand it yet, but in the quiet confidence of the Defiant, humanity had already begun to reshape the galaxy's perception of power. The day was bright above the neutral planet of Orvella. Its oceans shimmered in green and gold, and the skies were clear, perfect for observation. From orbit, the Defiant floated silently, calm and poised. Alien fleets maintained a cautious distance, still wary of the humans but unable to look away. The first 2 days of observation had left them nervous, uncertain, and increasingly respectful. Now the humans were about to demonstrate their capabilities, and the galaxy would see why panic had been the first reaction. Inside the Defiant, Captain Elena Ward addressed her crew. "Today we show them what humans can do without aggression. We do not threaten. We do not provoke. We demonstrate control, precision, and discipline. Every move counts." Lieutenant Harris nodded, his hands flying over the console. "All systems are ready, Captain. The demonstration fleet is standing by." The first act was simple: maneuvering. The Defiant moved with a grace that alien sensors could hardly understand. It rotated, shifted, and aligned itself in perfect precision as if it were dancing with the stars. Small drones accompanied the ship, performing coordinated arcs and loops, their patterns exact and synchronized. The alien observers whispered among themselves. The humans were not just piloting. They were orchestrating a symphony of motion. A Kalthari commander, whose fleet hovered tens of kilometers away, tapped his clawed fingers anxiously on the console. "They are showing off? Are they showing control? I cannot tell. Their movements are perfect. No hesitation, no error." "They do not overreact," replied Vexar. "Notice how they anticipate every environmental factor, the gravitational pull, solar winds, even minor energy fluctuations. Their calculations are instinctive yet flawless. It is remarkable." Next came the defensive demonstrations. The humans activated a series of defensive shields in patterns that shifted and flowed like liquid. Energy pulses, harmless but designed to simulate attacks, were fired from alien drones. Each pulse was intercepted, redirected, or absorbed by the Defiant systems. The shields adjusted instantly, countering the energy without overcompensating. The aliens had never seen anything like it. "They are not aggressive," one officer muttered. "Yet we cannot penetrate their defenses. Every simulated attack is countered without harm. It is unsettling." On the bridge of the Defiant, Captain Ward observed the alien reactions with quiet satisfaction. "They fear what they cannot control," she said softly. "And right now they cannot control us." Then came the demonstration of precision. Small drones were deployed to collect materials from the planet below. They moved in coordinated patterns, avoiding obstacles, adjusting for wind and turbulence, and returning to the ship with flawless accuracy. The aliens could see their own technology in action. Yet the humans' drones were faster, smarter, and more adaptable. Vexar, leaning closer to the display, murmured, "Even our finest drones could not perform these maneuvers with such efficiency. Their sensors, their programming, it adapts instantly, and they do not lose focus under observation." Next, the humans demonstrated non-lethal countermeasures. A small alien vessel simulated a rogue attack, firing electronic pulses meant to disrupt the Defiant systems. The humans did not panic. Shields adjusted, defensive arrays activated, and minor countermeasures neutralized the pulses, all without harming the alien vessel. The observers gasped. The humans could neutralize a threat without destruction, without bloodshed, without even a hint of malice. "This is unprecedented," a Varelian diplomat whispered to his assistant. "They do not retaliate violently, yet they cannot be breached." It is terrifying, but the humans did not stop there. They activated their energy manipulators in a series of controlled bursts, bending harmless energy streams into intricate shapes. The displays were beautiful, almost artistic. Alien scientists tried to analyze the energy flows, but the humans' patterns were too dynamic, too fluid, too intelligent. It was not just technology, it was creativity combined with precision. Captain Ward addressed her crew. "Remember, this is not intimidation. This is demonstration. Show them our skill, our intelligence, our discipline. Let them understand why humans are respected across the stars." The aliens were silent. Their sensors and instruments could measure power, speed, and energy, but they could not measure discipline, courage, or intelligence. The humans had brought something they had never encountered: control over themselves and their technology in perfect harmony. For some younger officers, admiration mixed with fear. One Varelian cadet whispered to her partner, "They could destroy entire fleets, yet they choose restraint. How brave." Meanwhile, a small faction of alien commanders tried a final test. They created a simulated ambush attempting to corner the Defiant. They expected panic, disarray, or at least reactive mistakes. But the humans executed coordinated maneuvers, deploying small craft to counter the simulated threat while keeping the main ship safe. Every move was calculated, every contingency planned. "They anticipate our actions," one alien growled, frustration evident. "They are predicting us before we act." "Yes," Vexar said calmly, though his voice carried awe. "Humans think several steps ahead, yet they remain calm. They are not chaotic like us, they are disciplined." After hours of demonstrations, the humans withdrew slightly, returning to orbit above Orvella. The alien fleets did the same, unsure how to react. Fear had not left entirely, but it had shifted into something new: respect, curiosity, and a cautious desire to understand this species that defied all expectations. In the council chambers, debates erupted. "We must engage them," one delegate said. "We cannot ignore the fact that they are both powerful and disciplined. This is not just technology, it is intelligence, strategy, and courage combined." "Perhaps we should offer collaboration," another countered. "If they are willing to teach, we can learn much. But we must be cautious. Their calm confidence hides capabilities beyond our understanding." Vexar leaned back in his seat, eyes still fixed on the displays. "They are not reckless. They are ethical, intelligent, and adaptable. That combination is rare, very rare." Back on the Defiant, Captain Ward reviewed the day's events. "We have shown them skill without aggression. We have demonstrated intelligence without arrogance. And we have reminded them that humans act with precision, courage, and restraint. That is enough." Her crew worked quietly to reset systems and prepare for the next phase of contact. Engineers cleaned and recalibrated drones. Sensors were analyzed for efficiency. Communications officers recorded every reaction from the alien fleets. Every human understood that their performance today had shifted the galaxy's perception, perhaps forever. The aliens, too, reflected on what they had seen. Some began to reconsider their strategies, their assumptions about strength, and even their understanding of diplomacy. They realized that humans' power did not lie solely in technology or numbers. It lay in the combination of intelligence, courage, and ethical restraint, a combination they had never encountered. As the sun set over Orvella, casting long golden reflections on its oceans, the Defiant remained in orbit, a calm, imposing presence. Alien ships slowly pulled back, leaving the humans room to maneuver. But their sensors remained trained, their officers alert, their minds racing to understand what they had witnessed. Captain Ward looked out over the bridge, her hands resting lightly on the console. "We are not here to conquer," she said softly. "We are here to explore, to demonstrate, to teach by example. The galaxy will see that humans are capable of great power, and that we choose to use it wisely." Her words resonated across the bridge. Every officer understood the responsibility they carried. The humans were no longer just explorers. They were a symbol of what humanity could achieve. Courage, intelligence, discipline, and ethical strength, all in perfect balance. The first controlled demonstration was complete. The humans had not fired a single shot, not harmed a single alien, and yet their presence had shifted the perception of every observer. Fear had not disappeared. It had evolved into a complex mix of respect, awe, and cautious admiration. As the Defiant moved to its new position in orbit, Lieutenant Harris turned to Captain Ward. "They will not forget today," he said. "No," she replied, a small smile on her face. "And neither will we. Today was just the beginning. The galaxy is starting to understand humanity, and it will take time for them to fully grasp what that means." Above Orvella, the stars shone like a million watchful eyes. Humanity had made its mark, not with aggression, but with calm, precise, and ethical power. The demonstration had ended, but the story was only beginning. The aliens would carry the memory of the human skill and discipline long after the Defiant had departed, and the seeds of admiration, respect, and cautious fear had been firmly planted. The galaxy had glimpsed what humans could do, and it would never see another species in quite the same way again. The Galactic Council chambers were vast and imposing, built from materials that shimmered like liquid crystal. Representatives from dozens of species sat in tiered rows, their forms as diverse as the stars themselves. Tentacles, scales, feathers, exoskeletons, every conceivable shape and texture was represented. The hub had never seen such a gathering in years, and the sudden arrival of the human starship Defiant had thrown the Council into chaos. For centuries, the Council had assumed that power in the galaxy depended on fleet size, energy output, and advanced weaponry. They had dealt with aggressive species, manipulative diplomats, and cunning strategists, but the humans were different. In every observation, every demonstration, they had defied expectations. They had shown power without aggression, skill without arrogance, and discipline that no one could match. Now, the Council had called an emergency session. Every species debated what to do about humanity, and for the first time in galactic history, fear and respect coexisted in equal measure. Councillor Vexar, the Kreelan scientist, addressed the assembly. "Colleagues, we have observed the humans for 3 days. They are unlike any species we have encountered. Their technology is advanced, yes, but their true strength lies in their intelligence, discipline, and ethical restraint. They do not attack without cause, and yet they can counter any threat we present. This is a species that thinks differently from all others." Murmurs rippled through the chambers. Some members nodded in agreement, while others whispered anxiously to their neighbors. Councillor Talrek of the Kalthari Empire rose, his claws tapping impatiently on the podium. "We cannot trust them. Their power is unmatched and their calm unnerving. How do we know they will not turn against us? We must prepare for conflict." Councillor Lyara of the Varelians spoke next, her voice calm but firm. "And yet they have not struck. They have demonstrated restraint. They have shown skill without aggression. Perhaps this is an opportunity. Perhaps we can learn from them." The debate continued for hours, but eventually a decision was made. Humans would be invited to speak at the Council. It would be the first time in centuries that an unknown species addressed the galaxy's representatives. Some saw it as a risk. Others saw it as an opportunity to understand a species unlike any other. Captain Elena Ward and her crew prepared for the session. The humans moved with quiet confidence, aware that every word, every gesture, and every decision would be scrutinized. They were not here to intimidate or to boast. They were here to represent humanity's principles: courage, intelligence, and ethical strength. When the Defiant entered the Council Chamber's communication network, the chamber fell silent. Every representative watched the holographic projection of Captain Ward. She was calm, composed, and unwavering. Her presence alone commanded attention. "Esteemed representatives of the Galactic Council," she began, "we come not as conquerors but as explorers. Our mission is to learn, to understand, and to share knowledge when appropriate. We recognize the power and diversity of your civilizations, and we respect your accomplishments. Our purpose here is simple: to foster communication and mutual understanding." There was a pause, then a flurry of whispers. The human words were simple yet precise. There was no pretense, no hidden threat, no arrogance. And yet, every word carried authority. Counselor Talrek's voice rang out, skeptical and sharp. "Captain Ward, your words are calm, but your ship is massive, and your technology, well beyond our understanding. How do we know your intentions are truly peaceful?" Elena's gaze was steady. "You know us by what you have observed, not by what you fear. We have demonstrated our capabilities without aggression. We have countered threats without harm. Our restraint is proof of our intentions. If we were here to conquer, the opportunity would have already passed. We choose not to conquer. We choose to act with discipline, intelligence, and ethics." The room was silent again. Representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Humans spoke differently than other species. They combined logic, clarity, and moral grounding in a way that alien minds struggled to fully grasp. Many had never encountered a species that could be strong and restrained simultaneously. Counselor Lyara finally spoke. "Your words are unusual. Most species of power either intimidate or dominate. Humans, however, show strength without coercion." "That is remarkable," Elena nodded. "Strength without ethics is dangerous. Power without discipline is fleeting. Humanity has learned that the combination of courage, intelligence, and ethical action creates stability. We do not act to dominate. We act to understand, to protect, and to contribute when possible." A murmur ran through the chamber. Even the most cautious species had to reconsider their assumptions. Humans were not like anyone they had known. They did not rely solely on technology. They did not react with fear. They did not seek to manipulate others. Their strength was in their mind, their character, and their principles. Counselor Talrek frowned. "And yet, what is to stop you from acting differently in the future? What if your restraint is temporary?" Elena's response was calm, unwavering. "Our restraint is not temporary. It is a principle. Humans understand that power without responsibility is dangerous. We choose responsibility because we value life, knowledge, and trust. If we fail in this principle, it is not because of weakness, but because we have abandoned what makes us human." For the first time, a quiet respect spread across the chamber. Even Talrek's claws tapped more slowly, his gaze shifting as if reconsidering what he had believed about strength and power. Counselor Vexar added, "It is rare to see a species that combines intelligence, ethics, and capability. Humans' actions so far show they can protect, learn, and adapt without aggression." "That is revolutionary," Elena continued. "We are not here to dictate terms or demand control. We are here to observe, to learn, and to share knowledge in ways that are mutually beneficial. Humanity believes that every species has value, and cooperation produces results far beyond conflict. That is why we approach you with openness, not hostility." Whispers spread across the chamber. Diplomats were astonished at the clarity, confidence, and calm authority of the human captain. For centuries, alien civilizations had assumed power was measured in ships, weapons, and numbers. Humans had demonstrated a different equation: intelligence, discipline, and ethics multiplied by courage and restraint. One younger delegate, a Varelian cadet observing the proceedings, whispered to a friend, "They could destroy us all. And yet they choose not to. How brave and disciplined." Hours passed as discussions continued, with humans answering questions, explaining their principles, and clarifying their intentions. They spoke of exploration, knowledge, and cooperation. They explained that humanity's approach to power was not reckless but deliberate. Every action was measured, ethical, and strategic. By the end of the session, the council had reached a tentative understanding. Humans were not aggressors. Humans were not manipulators. Humans were a species that acted with intelligence, courage, and ethics in perfect balance. Counselor Liara summed it up. Humans are different. Their strength is not only in their technology but in their discipline and ethical thinking. We must consider them carefully with respect and attention. They will not be ignored and they should not be feared, but understood. Captain Ward concluded the session. We appreciate your openness. Humanity will continue to act with discipline, intelligence, and ethics. We hope our presence will foster understanding, cooperation, and mutual respect throughout the galaxy. As the Defiant withdrew from the council network, a quiet awe filled the chamber. Alien delegates were still discussing, still debating, but the fear that had dominated their first encounters had evolved. It was no longer raw panic. It was respect, mixed with curiosity and admiration. The humans had not relied on weapons or fleets to assert themselves. They had relied on intelligence, composure, and ethical strength. Back on the Defiant, the crew relaxed slightly. Today had been a test, a demonstration of diplomacy as much as capability. They had met a galaxy that expected aggression and domination, and they had shown an alternative path: calm confidence, ethical strength, and disciplined intelligence. Captain Ward looked over her bridge, seeing her crew ready, calm, and efficient. They will remember this day, she said softly. They will remember that humans are capable, ethical, and disciplined. They will respect us not because of fear but because we earned it. Lieutenant Harris smiled. And they will think twice before underestimating humanity again. Yes, Elena replied. This is only the beginning. The galaxy is watching, learning, and adjusting, and we will continue to show them what it means to be human. Outside the ship, the stars glittered as if observing silently. The humans had not fired a single shot. They had not destroyed or harmed a single being. Yet their presence had shifted the galaxy's perception of strength, courage, and intelligence. They had proven that true power was not just in force but in ethical, intelligent, and disciplined action. The Council would continue to debate, study, and monitor humanity. But for the first time, the galaxy had seen a species that was powerful, confident, and disciplined, and yet unwilling to abuse that power. Humanity had set a standard that no other species could ignore, and the seeds of lasting respect, cooperation, and cautious admiration had been. Months had passed since the Defiant's first arrival at the Viralia trade hub. The galaxy was no longer the same. News of the human warship and its calm, disciplined crew had spread across star systems faster than any fleet could travel. Merchants spoke in hushed tones about the humans' abilities. Diplomats debated the implications of their intelligence and ethics. Even warriors, hardened by centuries of conflict, admitted a quiet admiration for humanity. For Captain Elena Ward and her crew, life aboard the Defiant continued as usual. Their mission remained exploration and observation, yet every action they took now carried the weight of a galaxy watching. Every decision, every maneuver, every communication had potential consequences far beyond the ship itself. In orbit above a small, peaceful planet, the crew prepared for a new series of observational missions. Alien fleets still monitored them not with fear, but with cautious respect. Some sent envoys to speak directly with humans, while others simply observed from afar. It was clear, humanity had changed the rules. Lieutenant Harris checked the ship's sensors and smiled. We're being observed again. Multiple species this time. Some send envoys, some just watch. Captain Ward nodded. Let them watch. Observation is good. The galaxy learns best when it sees us act with calm, intelligence, and ethics. The first human contact teams were dispatched to friendly planets. Scientists, engineers, and diplomats visited alien civilizations, sharing knowledge, helping with technology, and offering guidance when asked. These visits were never forced. Humans did not impose themselves. They acted with courtesy, patience, and wisdom. On one such planet, a young alien pilot named Lyra watched humans work with her people. She had expected intimidation or aggression. Instead, she saw humans teaching engineers to optimize energy flow without destruction, helping students understand complex mathematics, and showing patience in negotiations. They are incredible, she whispered to her instructor. They could easily dominate us, but they choose to help instead. The instructor nodded. Humans are unlike any species we've met. They combine intelligence, courage, and discipline. They are powerful yet ethical. That is rare. Back on the Defiant, Captain Ward observed the communications from her teams. Each mission, each interaction, strengthened the humans' reputation. Across star systems, aliens began to change their assumptions about what it meant to be powerful. Strength was no longer only about fleets or weapons. It was about intelligence, courage, and ethical restraint, a lesson humanity demonstrated every day. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council continued to debate humanity's role. The humans had proven themselves not as conquerors, but as allies, teachers, and partners. Yet the Council also recognized that humans' abilities demanded attention. Their calm, precise, and adaptable nature meant they could act decisively in ways that no other species could predict. Counselor Vexar spoke at a meeting. Humans do not seek dominance, yet we cannot ignore their presence. They teach us that strength comes from intelligence and ethics, not just weapons. Their impact will shape galactic relations for generations. Counselor Talrek, who had once advocated caution and aggression, now spoke differently. We feared humans, and yet we must respect them. They are not reckless. They are disciplined. They are a model species in many ways. Humans had begun to influence diplomacy in subtle but profound ways. Alien species revised their strategies, recognizing that cooperation, intelligence, and ethics often achieved results faster than force or intimidation. Military doctrines were reevaluated, trade negotiations became more collaborative. Even conflicts that had once seemed inevitable were resolved with dialogue rather than weapons. On the Defiant, Captain Ward reflected on the changes. We are not here to control the galaxy, she said quietly to Lieutenant Harris. We are here to show what humans can achieve when we combine courage, intelligence, and ethics. That is the legacy we leave. Harris nodded. And it is working. Systems are learning from us. They see the value of restraint, the power of careful thought, and the importance of cooperation. The humans' influence extended beyond politics and technology. Cultural exchange blossomed. Artists, scientists, and philosophers from alien worlds studied humanity's history, ethics, and methods. Stories of human courage, problem-solving, and ingenuity spread throughout the galaxy, inspiring younger generations of aliens to reconsider what they believed about intelligence, morality, and power. On a distant world, a group of young alien students discussed humanity over holographic displays. They could destroy entire fleets, one said. And yet they choose to teach, to help, to cooperate. That is beyond our understanding. Yes, replied another. It is not just strength. It is character. Humans act with wisdom and courage together. That is what makes them special. Even hostile factions had begun to reconsider their approaches. Some had attempted to provoke humans in the past, hoping to test their limits. Every attempt had failed, not because the humans lacked power, but because they used intelligence, foresight, and ethical restraint to neutralize potential conflicts without unnecessary harm. Captain Ward and her crew continued their exploration, traveling to remote star systems, mapping uncharted space, and engaging with civilizations that had never seen humans before. Everywhere they went, they left the same impression. Humans were a species to be respected, not feared, admired, not underestimated. One evening, as the Defiant drifted past a nebula, Lieutenant Harris looked at the swirling lights. Do you think they will ever understand us completely? He asked. Captain Ward smiled faintly. Perhaps not fully. But they will remember us. They will remember how we acted. And that is enough. Humanity's example will endure, even if they cannot comprehend every detail. In the Galactic Council, discussions of humanity shifted from fear to admiration. Policies were adapted, alliances reconsidered, and the principles of cooperation and ethical strength began to influence decisions across multiple star systems. Human philosophy and ethics started shaping the galaxy in ways that no fleet or weapon could achieve. Counselor Lyara, reflecting on humanity's impact, spoke in a meeting. We have learned that power is more than destruction. Courage without ethics is empty. Intelligence without responsibility is dangerous. Humans embody all these qualities together, and the galaxy is richer for it. Back aboard the Defiant, Captain Ward looked out over the stars. The galaxy was vast and unpredictable, filled with challenges, mysteries, and dangers. Yet she felt hope. Humanity's example had shown that strength, intelligence, and ethics could shape civilizations without violence. They had sparked change, inspired curiosity, and set a standard that would last generations. The crew went about their work with quiet determination. Engineers calibrated systems with precision, scientists collected data, and communication officers maintained contact with countless worlds. Every human action reinforced the same message: courage, intelligence, and ethical restraint were not weaknesses. They were humanity's greatest strength. As months turned into years, the galaxy continued to observe humanity. Humans had not conquered, yet their influence spread. They had not imposed their will, yet they had reshaped how species viewed strength, diplomacy, and intelligence. The humans' calm confidence, ethical conduct, and clever strategies became a model for civilizations across countless systems. On A Quiet World, a young alien scholar wrote, "Humanity shows us that power and ethics can coexist, that courage can be wise, that intelligence can be moral. We have much to learn, and we must watch and study their example." Even the most skeptical and cautious species began to acknowledge humanity's unique role in the galaxy. They were powerful, yes, but not reckless. They were intelligent, yes, but not arrogant. They were courageous, yes, but disciplined. The combination was unlike any other, and it left a lasting impression on every civilization they touched. Captain Ward, standing on the bridge of the Defiant, addressed her crew one evening. "We have done more than explore," she said softly. "We have inspired, taught, and shown what it means to be human. The galaxy will remember us not because we conquered it, but because we demonstrated what courage, intelligence, and ethics can achieve together." Lieutenant Harris looked out at the stars, awed. "We've changed the galaxy, haven't we?" "Yes," Elena said, smiling. "And the work continues. Humanity's journey is far from over, but today we leave a mark, a legacy of thought, action, and example. That is the true power of our species." The Defiant continued its journey, gliding silently among the stars, a beacon of hope, intelligence, and ethical strength. Planets, star systems, and civilizations watched, listened, and learned. Fear had turned into admiration. Panic had turned into respect. And the galaxy had begun to see what humanity was capable of. A species that could shape the future not through war, but through courage, intelligence, and ethical action. In the end, the humans had not only survived first contact, they had changed the galaxy forever. Their presence was a reminder that true power was not measured by weapons or fleets, but by wisdom, ethics, and the courage to act rightly, even when it was difficult.